What's going on, everybody? I'm just making sure that everybody here has the opportunity to get in on time. So just be patient. Give me about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to send out one more notification to my community, give people a chance here to get in, and then we're going to launch live. So just hold on 1 second. Get yourself settled. Get a drink or whatever you're going to have to listen here and to tune in. Especially be active for this chat because it's going to be pretty important information that you don't want to miss. All right, the announcement just went out. So people are joining right now. Welcome in, everybody. How long is it going to take? This should be about 30 minutes, guys. So that's why we do them at 4 p.m. on Saturdays, by the way, just because it's a little bit easier for us to just to manage. If we do it Saturday night, a lot of people have stuff going on. They're still living their lives. Altura hasn't changed the entire way of doing things and existing for everyone yet. Eventually, it'll be the most important priority in your life. I guarantee that. It'll be changing everything that you do about your current situation. But for right now, while we're still early to the movement, we're going to enjoy the old selves, the unchanged selves, the self with commitments still that, debts, things that seem to be our entire world that we have to manage before you gain true freedom with Altura. And that's actually the point of today. So again, welcome in, get settled. And most importantly, welcome back to the Ascended Podcast. My name is Caleb Schilke, and tonight, this afternoon, whatever time it is for you guys, some of you may be morning, we're talking about something bold. I want to make sure first I'm coming clear about, something every movement in history that has always existed, that has transformed humankind, not just business, not just crypto, not just blockchain, not just the internet in general. Every way of doing things in our life. Most importantly, our belief, our existence, what we feel like we're here to actually set out and accomplish. And we're going to talk about that factor. That's something that just might, in this case of Altura, define the future. You might have an idea of what it is. I think I just mentioned it. Every movement in history started with believers. Come up with your own definition real quick. Before I get into this, I want you to start with what you think belief is. And I also realized that I never had us go live on Instagram, so I want to get us going here. Okay, we are live on Instagram. So ask yourself that. Some of you may have a religious belief. Some of you may just have a belief in yourself, right? We call that self-encouragement, self-motivation, motivation, right, in general. Maybe we have a belief that of who we are. Maybe things that people tell us, things we tell ourselves, all shape this reality, this physical world around us. Everything, right? If I didn't believe I was an influencer, a podcaster, the head of this movement, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd be enjoying my Saturday afternoon doing probably, from what I see right now, way less important activities. I'd probably be out swimming or on a boat or doing something, that's fun, but not necessarily revolutionary. But I'm here because I have a belief, because that belief defines the thoughts I have. Those thoughts define what I feel is important. What I feel is important defines what I act on. And those actions have me sitting in a chair right now. So ask yourself, if you had to put down 3 or maybe 4 things about yourself right now, what do you believe in? I'd say most of you are going to start with religious, right? Or maybe secular belief, whatever you choose. Some of you may, believe the most important role you have is a husband, a son, a wife, mother, whatever it may be, a friend. You're going to list that too. You're going to believe what you are and how confident you are, right? List those key statements and actually write them down. Pull out a pen, go to your notes app. I'm going to give you a second here to do this. This is interactive. This isn't just you sitting on your phone middle of the weekend and watching this. At least just come up with one thing. I believe that I blank. Got it? I feel like I'm on like the Elmo show right now, like Dora, right? Remember as a kid, like Dora would be like, "What did you say?" Like I can't hear you obviously, but I can tell you guys are out there acting on this. Okay, drop it in the comments. Actually, I can see the chat, so I'd love to hear what you believe about yourself. I believe that I am capable. Okay, that's great, but capable of what? And what is the importance of being capable? So you would say something like, I believe that I'm a capable man who can handle any challenge that comes my way with confidence. Okay, so that tells me who I am, tells me what that does to shape my reality, and most importantly, it tells me what's going to happen because of that identity when some external threat or stimulus comes into my setting, right? So I believe this, therefore that, and therefore that, right? It's typically like that 3-stage process. I use that in coaching a lot. Obviously, you guys know I have coaching clients. It's a very powerful way of doing things because it tells you not just, again, what you label yourself as, what's in your Instagram bio, but most importantly, it tells you what does that belief do for your actions and therefore, the results of those actions. If you knew that, right, a lot of times that's the key step in being self-critical because it allows you to turn inward and say, because I believe I'm an athlete, I'm going to go out and train every day, which means I'm going to be in great shape, which you could even go further and say, which means people are going to recognize me, which means my self-confidence is going to go up, which means I can probably act better on other areas of my life with confidence, which means I have a greater chance of success in other areas of my life. You see how I just keep adding to that? A lot of times, right, that's what's going on in your subconscious mind. When you bring that to your conscious mind and you actually make that a known statement, words that are going across your brain like reading a book, and you're aware of these thoughts, you can control them. And that is one of the first lessons that you guys are going to learn in this hidden curriculum, how to do that. Not just what I said, but actually guarantee that your life changes when you're part of Altura. We're putting out this education, these secret course blocks that most people at universities, country clubs, right, like private schools aren't going to even have themselves. It's rich knowledge. It's the 1% knowledge that wealthy families, that elites keep from you learning, that keeps them in power, and the fact that you'll never succeed if you don't know it. I'm here to share that with you. And when you're an Altura member, you're going to get that. That was a big tangent, but I wanted to show you guys the importance of how much knowledge and belief about your world around you quite literally shapes the outcomes. Because I wouldn't, again, act. I wouldn't be here on this podcast if that wasn't important to me. Okay. I want to make sure I'm coming clear. I think my mic is connected. Okay. We are connected here. Okay, somebody gave me a thumbs up, so we are good. But let's press. Every world-changing movement started with belief. And most importantly, it wasn't just belief, it was the believer. It was somebody that knew that something didn't necessarily make sense. They didn't understand the math, the science, the logic behind it. Look at Christianity, right? Where was science at that time? We didn't even have the Enlightenment. We didn't have these monasteries, coming up with laws of physics and Galileo studying the planets yet, right? They were just people that had no choice but to say, I believe that this is the truth. I have no evidence, right? I could see things, I could hear things, but it's up to me to decide if I follow that or not. And a lot of times the belief is scary, right? Because belief can be wrong. You could come out, some evidence can come out and say you're wrong. So believing in something is one of the most masculine and important things I think you can do because you're willing to put something on the line, which is your ego. Too many of us protect that ego with everything we have nowadays. We're so afraid to say, hey, I'm a failing business owner. I was failing for so long when I started my business, my first couple businesses. I'm even technically I'm failing right now with Altura, right? Because we haven't sold public mint phases yet. All of this is just money out of my pocket. I've been investing time, resources, energy, my belief into a system that hasn't started generating money yet until next Wednesday when we start the pre-sale. That's belief because I have to put something on the line. I could be wrong. Altura could never work out. but I would have given it everything I have and will continue to do that until I guarantee it's successful. And a lot of times, the fact that you're so confident in it, the fact that you will put things on the line because you believe, sometimes even nonsensically, right? Or kind of you'd be labeled as delusional, right? Because there's no evidence to back the fact Altura is going to win. That when you act on it, it actually makes it a reality, right? You just remember Doctor Strange in the end game, right? Holding up that one. It's because if he told everybody, what was going to happen, it wouldn't happen. He said, you know what? These key things happened. And if I tell you, what the result of it is, I tell you the logic behind it, it's going to ruin the outcome that it's real. I have to just act. I know this is so meta. You guys are like being challenged to think about something so beyond your common grasp of knowledge. That's like, it's hard, right? It's hard for me to even explain it to you. But acting on a belief that isn't there actually makes something there, right? It's like light being observed. It changes behavior when you actually pay attention to it. Same thing with your business. There's no light at the end of the tunnel of what Altura is going to be. But when I start acting as if it's already successful, success spawns out of nowhere. You guys have joined this movement. You guys are chatting in the general chat in Discord. You guys are active and supporting each other. We're starting to grow every day. We're still in the pre-sale. We haven't even started selling yet. We already have 100, 200, pushing 200 members now. That's insane. That didn't make sense. You guys have nothing of value to back yet except your belief. A lot of you are just, spammers or promoters or whatever, which is fine because we need you guys too. But that belief, a few of you guys inside truly believe in Altura. And that's all the difference we're trying to make in this first pre-sale phase. We're rewarding belief. You're getting a better price, you're getting a guaranteed profit, and you're getting to express that emotion. That's powerful. And we're not going to let that waste. You're going to make money. You're going to pay yourself off. You're going to create generational wealth by believing in something that hasn't existed yet in a world that it's so hard to trust one another to do so. Okay? Awesome. I think by now, we've gotten through all the pre-phase of this live stream. I've given people on Instagram, on YouTube, on Rumble, on X, Facebook, whatever, time to get in, okay? So tonight, and I guess this afternoon, whatever you call it, we're calling this episode 200 Disciples. Yes, just like religious disciples, because our goal right now is clear. The first 200 tokens are going to go to believers. They're honestly probably going to go to people I know, people you trust, that will shape everything from this point forward inside of our pattern, inside of our protocol. I want to take this seriously for a second. Name one world-changing movement that didn't start with a small group. I'm just thinking of the first one that comes into my head. Let's say the civil rights movement, right, in the U.S. You had key believers, Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, right, willing to put their safety, their livelihood, honestly, their well-being at risk, being thrown in jail, being criticized, being called the worst things you could possibly be called, for a belief that all men are created equal. And that's powerful, right? I'm not African American, and I find that extremely inspiring. That people that have so much oppression against them, that grew up in a system that was so against them, could come and fight for something that they believed was right. And I'm so proud of our country for allowing that to be possible. But it was a small group of people, right? It was the bus riots. It was the right in Birmingham. You had people standing up to say, hey, I don't think this is the just way of doing so. And I know everybody's against me, and I could get killed, right? Quite literally, you could be killed. They were spraying fire hoses at protesters, putting them in hospitals, police dogs, right? Attacking people. But that small group of people that continue to come back and back and back, get up round after round after round of being knocked down, almost being knocked out. That's what survives the fight. And sometimes, in the right circumstances, that alone is enough to win because your opponent gets tired and your way will persevere. Christianity began with 12 disciples. Just 12. I guarantee you we already have 12 believers in Altura. And today, billions, with a B, identify with that movement. Why is Altura any differently? We have evidence to show what we believe. We can create miracles. We can fund businesses. We have a belief system that transforms lives. We have a secret education, a way of doing things that will quite literally change outcomes in your life from having that system of faith. We're a similar system. The American Revolution started with a handful of colonies and a few dozen signers of that declaration that put their name, that John Hancock, on the line, saying, fuck you, right, to King George. We're willing to take the risk that our names are on this piece of paper. We could get thrown in jail. You know, they didn't say fuck you, right, but it basically felt like that. And they were willing to be thrown in prison, maybe even executed, honestly, for rebellion and tyranny against a government. If they would have lost, their heads would have been quite literally on a chopping block. And they were willing to take that risk because of something they believed in. What am I asking you guys to do right now? Am I asking you to put yourself under a guillotine to get your businesses started, like these people? Because the extent sometimes it feels like that we make this movement, right? And what I hear in the chats and stuff is like people think I'm asking them to donate a kidney. I'm asking for $200 to contribute to a fund that will fund millions of people's impact around the world through your businesses. Start up a company, start up another company, start up another company. All of a sudden, this founder was part of Altura. This founder was part of Altura. This founder was part of Altura. These businesses are connected. People start spreading that word. Your value starts going up. Your tokens, your access passports that you just paid for are now worth $10,000. And you got to benefit from having your companies funded, from getting to share in each other's companies, getting access to each other's softwares, your tools that you're making. The network of people that are trying to build and be efficient that you don't find just scrolling on Instagram. I'm putting all this in one place. I'm putting myself on the line, looking stupid, putting my own money in, quite literally putting myself the line on the Declaration of Independence, not necessarily risking my life per se, but putting something worth value, my money, on the line because of something I believe is important. And nothing great happens because of that or without that. Bitcoin. Bitcoin's so fascinating. Bitcoin came from I don't even know what the word is. I think I had this written down somewhere. A pseudonymous, which means a false name, kind of anonymous creator, right? So pseudo, fake, and anonymous. Pseudonymous creator named Satoshi Nakamoto. Right? There's so many theories about who Satoshi was. Maybe it's a group of people. Maybe it's just a false name to get us to think it's somebody else. Maybe it is a real person. Maybe it's a real guy that just hasn't been discovered yet. And a few early miners that backed a small infrastructure ecosystem of a few computers, mining Bitcoin, supporting transactions, and having the vision that one day, thousands, millions of people will be using Bitcoin for transactions. That was really stupid back in the day. Everyone's like, well, dollars are great. We have debit cards. We can send money through bank transfers, ACH transfers, Venmo, even PayPal was growing at that time. Why do we need Bitcoin? That's such a dumb idea. And they said, you know what? Maybe. But this is a risk we're willing to accept. And the utility behind it just might change the world. They weren't chasing hype because hype died very quickly, right? Hype was probably there the day they launched. And then for, as we know, probably 6 to 8 years, nobody talked about Bitcoin. It was very like backdoor, kind of like black markety vibes of weird people using it. It was not spoken of. And they had to take that pain for 6 to 8 years and accept that it might not work out. And they would have wasted 6 to 8 years of their life in a system that just simply would have crashed. And they were willing to back that because they weren't chasing hype, obviously, or they would have stopped within the first month or two when it didn't seem to work. They waited until The line continued flat, and then eventually Bitcoin halved. The price went up. A few more people recognized. The price halved again. A couple hundred, 1,000 people started recognizing it. Halved again, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. And now today, millions, if not billions of people recognize Bitcoin as a number one player in the crypto market. That's vision. It's not hype. And today, Bitcoin is worth over $1 trillion. Just for reference, the global market, everything in the world itself as a market right now is worth about 100 trillion. So 1% of the entire globe is now this currency in terms of finance. And it's going to grow. Someday it could be worth 20% of the global economy. Bitcoin could hit $2 to $3 million. And so we're still early. We're talking about a change right now from $108,000 to $110,000, like it's the entire world of finance. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin's probably going to be between $2 to $10 million a coin. And if you're not buying it right now, you're still very, very immature in the cycle. And you have plenty of growth to go. History proves the truth that greatness, as a concept, it doesn't start with masses. In fact, things that are starting with the masses, the lines outside the door for Supreme, are hype. Sneaker drops, NFT drops, they're just hype. Bored Ape Yacht Club, and that hype dies off. And so they're cashing in on the front end. They're getting all their value first and then selling out. They're rug pulling, creators disappear, people's trust erodes. But vision is different. There's a small, committed circle that is willing to see it through regardless and will always come back. And that's what Altura is right now. You guys. So I want to talk about the whitelist. Obviously, that's the big thing coming up this next week. Most NFT projects treat it like early access, kind of like a pre-sale, the Black Friday discount. It's like waiting in line outside the Apple store for the new iPhone and getting the premium price, right? Because nobody else has access to it yet. In Altura, that's true in terms of the way it's set up, but whitelist isn't just a coupon code. It's not just a guaranteed discount or profit on the back end when you resell it. It's the first test because it's harder, because there's not 1,000 people that own these already, where you can already start networking with people, where you can already start seeing the benefits come in. You guys have to look at the match I just lit and add your candle to the flame and light yours alongside mine. It's the first test. It's proof that I was here before everyone else. You get to carve your name on Plymouth Rock, being a pilgrim, and therefore be talked about for the rest of existence in this atmosphere. It's not just about price. It's about power. Whitelist means you don't just hold a placeholder image, right? You're not just one of the first holders of this token. You get to help finalize what will be the art itself, right? Bored Ape Yacht Club said we have these pictures of apes, monkeys, whatever they are, with different clothing items, different accessories. You get to be the one that decides what the art is. It could be apes, just like Bored Ape Yacht Club. It could be the operators that we've been showing you. At the end of the day, it's yours. We'll lay out the options. You get to pick what goes on these characters, and it's what gets presented to the rest of the world to help show them belief in the system, that the people inside, the early disciples, got to have a founding vision, that Peter, that John, that Mark, the disciples got to have their names included in one of the greatest movements and works of all time. In this case, you in Altura. Early members get to decide everything. You don't just buy an NFT next Wednesday when the pre-sale happens. You get to vote on the foundation of an entire ecosystem. Imagine your name, some random person, right, that doesn't have a massive following. Let's say John Smith, Caleb Schilke, right? You getting to have your name associated maybe on the Wikipedia page of what would be called Silicon Valley back in the day. You get to be a Steve Jobs with no work, basically, except your purchase and your belief. You get to have your name forged into a vision that will last 100 years, 1,000 years. And imagine the impact most believers, vision Silicon Valley would have before it was ever in existence. And now look at it today. If you are associated, if you were one of those early founders, and this people were talking about Silicon Valley, it sounded like, right, silicon, fake. Like, why would I believe in this stupid movement of tech and computer nerds out in Los Angeles? And now look at the vision, NVIDIA, Tesla, right? PayPal, all these companies that have spawned out of that. That's you now. The torch is being passed to you. And what's crazy is that if you ask any of those people, they would have believed they were destined for that position. The hardest thing is convincing you, an everyday person, that that is what you're cut out for. It just takes a flip of the switch. One decision to act and to stop being scared of that action. And here's the kicker. Mathematically, right? Some of you are so logical based, I have to appeal to your logical math sense. The whitelist is already positioned for upside. If you're in early at 0.06 Ethereum, the next phase is 0.08 Ethereum. That is 1/3 of 0.06. It's 0.02 increase. So that's 33%. Okay? And by the time we go public, that's 0.10. So when you really start seeing the masses come in, you're going to make 2/3 of your money back, 0.04. And then if you hold it past then, you'll see it go from 0.1 to 0.2 to 0.5 to 0.75 to 1 to 2 to maybe even where Bored Ape Yacht Club is. Because they stopped delivering value. They're just a cool celebrity ecosystem. We're going to have celebrities. We're going to pay celebrities to endorse us. We're going to give them tokens. We're going to have keynote speakers. We're going to be more famous than Bored Ape Yacht Club. And we're actually going to fund businesses. We're going to give you guys benefits. We're not going to stop when we sell out as a clout collection. Bored Ape Yacht Club sell for 10 Ethereum a piece. We can easily hit 20, 30. CryptoPunks are the same thing. They're just hype, profile pictures, and they sell for 40 to 50 Ethereum. Imagine paying $200 and then being worth 30 Ethereum at $5,000 a piece. That's $150,000 from a $200 belief and a bet on an investment that's guaranteed to pay you back value the whole time you hold it. That is mathematical certainty. That is the same thing that causes people to flood into Bitcoin in markets where the US dollar keeps getting printed like they just said a couple weeks ago. So I guarantee crypto is going to pump this fall. Therefore, our NFTs are going to pump, and you're going to miss the train if you don't take action. Belief comes before evidence, though. If you believe now, we're going to raise the price of the tokens. And if you don't buy them now, Ethereum is going to get more expensive, which is what you use to purchase our token, and our token is going to get more expensive. So you're going to be paying an exponentially higher amount of money to get into this community. You're going to get outpriced unless you take action now. That is the DNA of every movement, belief, because it's where all the upside lives. The people that made millions off Apple or Amazon, they're willing to invest when Amazon was still just selling books in a warehouse, before they had transportation, mail systems, overnight delivery, massive promotions, web services, when they were just a small book company. That's where the money was made. And right now, we're just a small book company. We're just the next Silicon Valley waiting to happen. Does any of this make sense? Am I getting through to anybody? If I am, please drop a comment, something that helps me show that you guys are here and you're listening. I can tell you are, though. I can see people in here. I know we're active. Altura isn't built for people like what I used to be, a skeptic who needed proof first. All the haters, the commenters who will say, hey, it's just a scam like everything else. That's the person that's been burned so many times, and I don't blame them, right? Let's look at like Jesus, right? Jesus didn't hate somebody that didn't believe in him. Jesus was willing to accept that some people needed more conviction. They needed to see. They needed to weight. They needed to feel good. They were tired of being pulled one over, right? They didn't believe miracles existed. And that's fine. We don't hate the people that hate on us. We welcome them to see what our value is. We're saying the door's still open even for you to try it out while the price is still insanely low. And if they don't want to take that, that's fine. But the people who will, right? The believers, the visionaries, the 200 disciples who say, I don't need the world to believe yet, I'll step forward now, then that's where the upside lives. If that's you, whitelist is your gateway. If that's not you, you're going to be watching from the outside later. You're going to go on your Instagram feed, you're going to see a video of Times Square, and the Altura arts that our whitelist you get to make when you join next week is going to be plastered on a billboard. You're going to say, damn, we just took something from a vision and put it on a New York Times billboard in the real world. That is manifestation if I've ever heard of it. And you're going to wish that you moved forward when it mattered, if you were skeptical. And once again, you're going to reinforce that system and probably go back to your old ways of just criticizing people that want to do something bigger than themselves. I would ask that you don't hold on to that hatred, but you instead channel that and say, what if, instead of, I hope not. You know what most projects sell that I've just talked about? Hype. They create a spike of energy. They sell out. It's like Supreme, like Bored Apes. They disappear. The market cools down because of that. And then the price dies. They stop giving a shit about their people. They say it was fun while it lasted, but thanks for your money. You've all seen it. I just mentioned it. Altura is built differently. Vision sustains when the hype dies off. Hype supplements the vision. It allows our vision to build quicker, but we're not relying on hype. Hype is just gasoline on the fire that's already been lit. Helps us get to where we want to be quicker, but when it's done, it affects nothing because the vision carries forward. Slower, sure, but more lasting, with more guaranteed returns to those of you looking for proof. Think about Supreme. They built an empire not just on the product itself, the vision, but on the story, the scarcity and the movement. They use hype to sell their products, but Supreme, the box logo that everyone recognizes, is the brand, the vision. And the hype is what creates more momentum behind them, gets them featured on drops, on popular creator stories, creates the valuable, the monetary, importance behind their shirts, their random sledgehammers or whatever they sell nowadays. Think about Tesla, right? The cars. Elon didn't just sell cars. He sold the idea of a new future. In fact, the most important part of Tesla, the real brand value behind it, isn't the car itself. It's the self-driving system. It's the AI. It's the autonomous systems that can control your vehicle. That's what other cars don't have. That's the differentiating factor that only exists because Elon was crazy enough to see it as real and then not stop working until it actually becomes a reality. And all of a sudden, billions of dollars become in existence out of nowhere because other people start to say, damn, this is actually becoming real. Cars can actually start driving themselves. Other car companies start to try to compete to catch up, but Elon's so far ahead that he dominates the industry. Everyone's money is put on Elon because he's the best out there, because he was willing to take the chance that you can't make a self-driving car. But his commitment, his determination to make it happen is the only thing that made it exist. And people bet on him, not on other CEOs that didn't have that risk. That's what we're doing here. Altura isn't another profile picture. You can, the art that you get to design, you might be so proud of it, sign your name off on it, right? That you might want that to be your Instagram picture, your X picture, whatever it's going to be. Because it shows exclusivity. If celebrities are endorsing it, it shows celebrity status. You're going to get clout, basically the hype, from owning one of these. But it's not just that. It's a launch pad. It's just the token that our algorithm scans to say you are a validated member, you're a certified member, come and access all of our tools and resources. It's what you scan for the Ticketmaster QR code to let you into the concert. Except in this case, the concert never ends. The concert just gets better and better as we go, and you can resell that ticket for more money. So why wouldn't you be buying up as many tickets as you could buy? It's the same exact thing. It's an access pass, but one that never expires with time. The NFT is the key, right? But the syndicate, the benefits behind it that you guys need to read in the white paper on our website, that is the key. It's linked down below on Rumble or YouTube if you're watching it there, or in my profile. The hype burns, but most of you don't realize that hype is not supposed to last. Hype wouldn't be hype if it lasted forever. It would just be growth. Hype is the tool. Hype is a little spice on top of your meal that adds that extra kick, but it's not meant to be the main thing. And that's the difference that sets us apart. We lead with vision, but we incorporate hype as needed, with celebrities, with marketing boosts, with promotions, with collaborations, with branding, with partnerships, with cryptocurrencies, and with member benefits. So with that said, let me issue a challenge. If you're hearing this live, invite one person tonight that you think belongs in the syndicate from anything that I've said. A lot of times, most of you are going to think of, I would think of a college roommate like my buddy Noah, who's already in our community. I've already invited him. He's an early believer in everything that I do. You need people like that in your life. It might be an entrepreneurship partner, a business partner that you have, somebody that would actually benefit from being able to go to our in-person TED Talk style conferences, get access to our secret education, get access to business funding, business partners, software, tools, an investment that's going to 1,000x potentially from a $150 investment to a $150,000 holding investment. If you guys don't see all that value, then you shouldn't even be here, because I don't understand how your mind can't comprehend that. Maybe it's just because it's too crazy to even think is real. But again, how does anything like Tesla exist without saying that self-driving cars exist? I'm going to go out and find a way to make them happen. And the people that invested, the people that said Tesla, Elon has such a determination to make that happen that I'm going to put money into Tesla. And all those early believers in Tesla are now also millionaires from only a few shares, from a lot less money than it would cost to buy that many shares today. So that's my challenge. Invite somebody that you genuinely think would invest, that you can help change their life. So that 6 months from now, when you take our token for $200 and now it's already at $5,000, pushing to $10,000, right? And pushing well beyond that eventually, that you can say, hey, I'm glad you got the opportunity to get in with me. I'm glad that you and I in Altura could both go pitch our business idea and get $10,000 to start our media company, our podcast, our coaching business, our software, that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise without taking on business debt, without having to build up a business credit score, a Dun & Bradstreet number. It takes 6 months to even have a bank look twice at us. And give them that opportunity to win. Don't be selfish. Because if Christianity, if Buddhism, if Islam, any of these, religious movements too, didn't start with people spreading the word, not expecting things in return, but just trying to add value to other people's lives, we wouldn't have a world that's so affected by it as we do today. Religions, as crazy as they might be, as much as you may love or hate them, are full of people that are willing to help each other for the better in their own way. And that can't be ignored. Altura is doing the same thing. So if you have belief, express that. And there's no proof, right? You can't physically prove in today's modern times that any religion is necessarily the truth. But you have to believe. And the more you believe, it turns out your life actually changes regardless of if the facts are validated or not. Because the belief creates the confidence, which creates the opportunity for you to go take action on that, for you to sit in a chair like I am today and talk confidently about a mission that you are guaranteeing to happen. I'll do this till I'm 80, until we sell 8,000 tokens, if that's what it takes. But Altura will exist. The value will be driven up. You will make money buying our tokens. And if you're not listening, if you're not confident, and you're not putting Ethereum in your account while the value's still low, Ethereum's low, our tokens are low, and getting the best deal on the market and optimizing your return on investment. If you're going to wait, the price is going to go up. You're going to pay more. You're not going to make as much money. You're going to lose opportunity to get to design the art, to get to meet me, to get to have exclusive benefits from being early. I'm going to recognize people. You're going to forever be tagged as a whitelist member, which will create unlimited opportunity that I won't give to other holders because you were early. Because belief is the greater test than anything else in this community. I don't care about the price. I don't care about how much money we make off these first 200 NFTs. I don't care how many we sell. I'm just opening the door, but I don't want more than 200 to go out there because I can't meet with you. I can't talk face to face or person to person with more than 200 of you at once. I want you guys to have the opportunity to win. And so the door's open. I'm inviting you in. But if you don't take it, I'm not going to be mad because you're welcome to come back later. And that should be the difference between our community and a hype-based community. It's not, threatening you and saying the door's closing, get in now. It's me saying, I hope you stay around, but I'm welcoming you in early if you choose to have that faith. Invite somebody in that you care about. Put value into their life. Think about somebody else first. Put them in your life first. And a lot of times they'll return the favor. We will return the favor. You'll win faster, right? Because if we're all inviting our friends, Altura will sell out cheaper and quicker than ever. We'll have to spend less on marketing. We can give more money back to you guys, and we'll create everything faster. That's only going to add to your life. Send them alturasociety.com. I want you to drop your biggest goal inside of our Discord in the chat. Talk about it with a friend. Talk about what you would do if you got $5,000 to $10,000. I've been challenging some of the members in my community already with that. I've said, hey, what's your business idea? Somebody said they wanted to start a domain flipping business, right? Where you buy domains on the internet and you resell them for more money. There's a lot of people that would love to explore that opportunity. There's a lot of money to be made in that. And if Altura invested in that, hey, maybe other Altura members could get a discount from your business for getting their domain. That's value, right? Altura can own that. Money that you make can get reinvested back into Altura if we're a partial owner. And then everyone else gets opportunities for cheaper domains. It's a win-win-win. Everybody gains something. And it didn't cost you anything to get that cheaper domain from the initial investment you paid. That's how everybody wins. And it's because you proved you weren't just lurking. You took action and you started benefiting sooner than anybody else. So go right now to alturasociety.com or whatever link I have tagged down below of this video or in my bio and lock in your spot. Because again, 200 is the max. And I guarantee you, right now, we basically have 80% already committed to people. So you guys are really competing for 40 NFTs. I have basically 80 of them already sold on my behalf. Like I have people that have already promised the money to come in. So it's going to be a rush. You're not going to have a very high likelihood of getting one of these unless you're on your game, unless you're being active and you actually care about this movement. And that's the biggest, most guaranteed profit you'll have at all from the start, right? It'll get easier and easier, right, as we start massively marketing to see the value go up. But you're going to make the most money buying it now. If you're quick, if you're early, and if you genuinely show that you care. And if you think 200 is a lot, right? Again, I've already had probably 80% of them committed to other people. So there's probably only about 40, really. Look at Pudgy Penguins. There's over 150,000 members in their private community that we're fighting for tokens. In this case, it's 8,888. And we could someday have 100,000 people fighting for, the 4,000 that are left. That's going to drive price up. It's going to make you insane money if you bought it now. Look at Bored Ape. Tens of thousands of people begging to get inside after it was too late. And the minimum price to get in now is $30-something thousand for a $100 picture. Do you want to be outside of the story? Or do you want to be inside? Altura is not another Discord group. In fact, we're going to eventually move off of Discord. This is just where we can gain the most traction for the cheapest price and get you guys involved. It's an app that many of you guys have. It's an easy to manage community. But we're going to get out of here. It's going to get privatized. You guys are going to get actual syndicated access. You're boxed off where you get to network. You get to have exclusivity. You get to be exclusive, celebrity status because of this. It's not just another quick cash grab. You're going to be elite. Your life is going to change because of this. It's a syndicate. And I mean that, right? Syndicated. Everyone's coming together to contribute to something bigger than themselves. That is what syndication means in business. It's like crowdfunding. It's a 100-year experiment in wealth, collaboration, and most importantly, sovereignty, creating freedom in a world that seems harder and harder to do so in. 200 spots. Ideally, again, at this point, really 40 are left already before we ever even open the doors officially. Is all it takes to set this into motion. We've already started the traction. It's already there. You're now already in competition. It's just a matter of how soon are you going to commit before you lose out on guaranteed wealth. Those 200 spots set everything into motion. History is going to look back at this podcast, probably with a lot more eyes, and they're going to see us grinding this out from day 0, day -5, month -5. This has been in progress for a while on this group, this community, and everything will be in the spotlight when we're on Times Square, when we're in the Forbes article, when we're getting featured in TED Talks, podcasts worldwide. You're going to be glad you were part of this, and everyone's going to praise you for having that vision and respect you. So the question at the end of the day is simple, and I've asked it before. Will you be one of the 200? Or will you watch, maybe forever, from the outside? Go to alturasociety.com or click the link below. Lock your spot. Invite someone, send the link to a friend, or just tell them about the movement. And ask them why they deserve to be here. Ask if they're the right person to fill one of these spots. Because every sale, every NFT that goes to one person makes or breaks the community. Is that person going to add value? Are they going to actually benefit from the investment? Are they somebody that deserves to benefit from the investment? Or are they a waste of time? Are they somebody that probably wouldn't make a good business partner? Are they somebody that actually cares about entrepreneurship? Or are they just somebody looking to make a cheap buck? Because we want visionaries. And that makes our community better. And the last thing I'll say before we ever officially launch is thank you. Thank you for having belief. I can tell it's there. Even though you haven't acted yet, even though you might be wavering, you wouldn't be wavering, you wouldn't be considering this, you wouldn't be sitting here unless some part of you believed. And that gut feeling, that hesitation is what you need to overcome to make lots of money in life. I'm going to show you exactly how that works on the back end. But I want to say thank you for at least considering it, because that's more than most people. Eventually, they won't have a choice but to accept that it's a leading project. That is the new world syndicate. That is the new Silicon Valley. But if you choose to be early, if you choose to overcome that scary feeling in your gut that says jump, and you actually do, even with just $200, which most of you already have, you're going to change your life permanently for the better. And so welcome. Welcome to the next future. Welcome to the only future where you still have the sovereignty you want, where everything in your life comes true. Welcome to the syndicate. Join the community, be active, follow us. Please follow this channel, my account. And I'll be back tomorrow with, yet again, another live stream, because I'll be doing this until we sell all 8,000. Because I care about it, I care about you, and I care that we create a future that is led by the people. Just like the American Revolution, just like the Renaissance, just like the Enlightenment, and now the modern day revolution of Altura. Have a good rest of your day. Have a great weekend. Lock in, and let's keep building to Wednesday.